Hi YouTube, how are you? Um, I hopefully my bedroom's not in too much of a state, but I just want to show you what I've come across. Well, not come across, but come into my possession over the last few days. This absolute massive pile of books. Wow, I'm in absolute paradise. So I'm a bit of a book nerd. I haven't been reading much this summer because I've just been too busy soaking in the sun, as you can see from my lovely suntan. I am Irish, so this is pretty rare. But the book I'd like to talk about today is the Iliad. Look at that beautiful cover there. So the Iliad is obviously by Homer. Um, I would say it's the most impactful fictional book I've ever read in my life. Um, Probably because it exposes the sorry um probably because it exposes the darker undercurrent of human nature, while also really wrapping it all in this very. I mean, I'm a man, you know what I mean. Um, Very much it's for like you can get it's like a battle story, right? It's a war story. So it's more like honor, but like doxa, kleos. You know what I mean, these Greek words for honor. It's very much. I mean, I don't like the word, but like the male gaze. You know what I mean? Like it's a well, yeah, male gaze right here, but more so the male gaze. You know what I mean? But I think the versatility of the book is what really has made it such a staple in the Western canon. You know what I mean? You have these glorious battle scenes, which if you read in a poetic prose, like poetic verse, you get the rhythmic feel of the entire beauty, destruction, and visceralness of like the entire carnage and war and everyone's attitude towards it, and like how they view this as basically their fate. But the perspectives we're getting from all these characters are all rich men, right? Like they're all rich, aristocratic men whose glory is to like die on the battlefield, right? And when a working class soldier is mentioned in the book, he's like a laughing stock. It's like, oh, hey, look at him, he's shite, you know what I mean? Which, I mean, maybe he was, you know what I mean? Maybe he deserved it. Um, but like this peek into this world that like modern larpers on Twitter could only dream of, right? That even Plato said was one of the most immoral works of human creation that needed to be censored lest it corrupt the youths. You know what I mean? Like, there's this longing in the book for this world which was even foreign, believe it or not, to the Greeks who wrote it. Basically, I mean, it's probably from an older oral tradition from like the actual Bronze Age collapse. But like the Greeks who wrote it down, like Homer, when we get further, bit small but further in history, well, further forward, like towards our time, when we get more into the realms of philosophy and laws and city states, and we're not quite at the bureaucracy of Rome. We're not quite at the moral flourishing of the mixture of Greek philosophy and Christian philosophy. We're at this stage where just people are where was I going? I think I don't even know what I was saying. This I got so swept up from my own bullshit. You know what I mean? Um, Men have always wanted this like more like if you look at a hunter gatherer tribe, right? It's probably very equal. I mean, there's probably no such thing as status. However, the greatest thing a man can do in life for himself, and what the greatest thing a man desires in life, is to be respected by primarily by other men. You know what I mean? I don't mean that in a sexist way. Like I'm between the lines of woke and far right. I mean, like I straddle that line all the time. I'm back and forth. I'm in the dead center, in the middle, and not in a moderate way, just in a synthetic way, like synthesis of both sides. You know what I mean? The greatest thing a man desires in life is probably love, and affection. But a big one up there is probably being respected by other men. You know what I mean? And so often the respect of other men is something you earn, right? Like how many times it's like the cliche being one of a man trying to earn the respect of his father, you know what I mean? Or respect of his friend group, or respect. Like, so many of our underdog stories are either about men falling in love and um, you can say argue those are outdated, but I think the story of a man finding respect amongst other men is a very primary thing to the human story, right? So that's playing into this into the idea of glory in the story, right? It's all about Achilles' rage because he's been disrespected by Agamemnon. I'm pretty sure it's Agamemnon with it. Pretty sure it was Agamemnon. So he's been disrespected by Agamemnon, and it tears him apart. Like, I mean, it's kind of funny because from my perspective, it's kind of like an absolute bitch fit. You know what I mean? It's kind of like an absolute bitch fit. I mean, people love to say that the idea that Achilles is a gay man, and was in a relationship with Patroclus. Patroclus, I don't know how you pronounce his name. It's just like a modern woke convention. But I mean, Plato and everything was debating that. So I think it's not really a woke convention. Maybe if it's not what Homer intended, but the Greeks that invented the Greek philosophy and the city-states and the democracy were debating whether these characters were gay. And as a gay man myself, I know that level of drama can only come from a gay man. I mean, like, I'm not a gay man. He obviously the war. It's over the war prize. Braces, right? Terrible to call a woman a war prize, but that's just it's, it's a very different society. You know what I mean? Not quite what I imagine a primal society would be. I think like hunter gatherer societies are pretty equal, but I guess harkening back to this ancient sort of like mythologist there is like men very like into aesthetic morality. I mean, like, the aesthetics of the past. Like, I think men are primarily suspect that. Anyway, I'm just rambling because it's a good book. Um, but my main point, what I was trying to illustrate there, was that it's capturing this like Bronze Age world or pre-Bronze Age world where the primary thing was honor, your personal honor, your integrity, your personal reputation, and your personal reputation, your honor, and your strength. It was all about might makes right. But then there's also such moments of absolute humanity in the book, right? Like the moment where Hector and what's his wife's name? I don't know his wife's name. I don't know Hector's wife's name. Or was it Hector? It was I don't know if it was Hector, but there's a scene where a character who's in Troy, is there and he's saying to his wife, "Oh, I have to go to war." And she's saying, "Oh, but if you go to war, you'll die, and then worse things are gonna happen to us." And then you think of your son and all this. And he's like, "No, I have to go. I have to fight at the front lines." And she's like, "Sure, the front lines can do without you." Like if I don't go, Troy will fall. And she's like, "If you go, Troy will fall." And then like they're both discussing this, and then the kid is like afraid of the horse plume on his helmet, and the helmet itself, and you're just reminded that war may not actually be the natural state of humanity. I mean, I'm sure there's always been tribal skirmishes, right? But if you go back to like way back, like humans like it's like a Hobbesian versus what's the opposite of Hobbes? Hobbes is like human base stage of human nature is wild and barbaric. And then there's another one. I forget his name. There was another English philosopher who said the natural state of humanity is like peaceful and egalitarian. Probably somewhere in the middle. I'd like to call it the chimp versus bonobo conundrum. But like this child is like terrified of this like this figure that this like they take off the helmet and he sees it as his father. And like the kid cannot recognize his father, and when he has his helmet on. And like people say Emily Wilson's translation is woke, but there's no way you can read that into that scene and not see what Homer's trying to get at. You know what I mean? He's trying to say this is a war story. This is a story about glory. This is about a story about men, what men think they want from like camaraderie, glory, all these sort of things. At least back in this society, and it's coming back in this society again today. This sort of mentality, but like war is not the accepted state of humanity in any era, and people have always had an issue with war. We like to imagine that people in the past just accepted that war was as it is, and it seems to really be the state where, like, I think it was Hector and his wife, like, they seem to accept that, oh, this is just the way humanity is. We can have our little interpersonal drama about you, innocent individual, but this city is going to fall, and what's going to happen to all of us is inevitable. At least we can be together, we can be a party. I mean, that's the debate. But the kid doesn't accept that this is the natural state of humanity. You know, he's like, that's not my father. That's just a random soldier. I can't see his face. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it shows you the I don't know. Again, I think you can kind of see what I'm getting at. There's also a very humanizing scene at the end where it was I think it was Menelaus. I'm not sure. I have read this book a few months ago, so um like Achilles is there and he's after fighting and he's avenging. He was going to avenge Patroclus, Patroclus, whatever his name is, and he was gonna kill. I think it was Hector. And Menelaus comes over. He's like, "Yeah, that's my son. Are you gonna kill him? Like, please just don't do that." I forget what the exact dynamic was, but they had a moment of humanity where they just talked and like they said, "Not today. I won't kill him today." Basically, I mean, or I'll let him go with you now, but I'm coming back for him. Which was just like, I don't know. It's like these weird humanizing moments in the Iliad. It's got such a dynamic range of primarily the like I don't know. It's got such a dynamic range of the human experience, right? Like the darkness, the grit, love, desire, lust, war, glory, terror, horror. Uh, it's all these things, you know what I mean? And that's why I'd recommend the Iliad. If you're not looking at it like an examination of humanity from a deep examination of primarily the male psyche, but like also like just like the human psyche in a society that's so different from ours, but like a society that so clearly laid the foundation for our society. If you examine history, um, yeah, that's my opinion. I think you should I really recommend it, and I'd recommend Emily Wilson's translation for the I think it's iambic hexameter that she uses. It's really good. She says she wants to avoid purple prose, but I think she done a really good job of making the writing floral, and I do like floral writing. And like the visceralness of the gore is present in the book in her version, so that's something I definitely recommend. Yeah. Whew.